And I was told that if you are good at these two things, you should take mechanical or civil engineering, which is not at all true. And like people who are good at physics should probably choose mechanical engineering, not at drawing. You actually genuinely want to be a good mechanical engineer, start participating in the different teams that your college probably already has. Don't really need any certificates. College name actually helps a lot in that case. But if you want to diversify a bit, like suppose you want to go into supply chain management that are not mainstream mechanical engineer, those kind of things you need certificate. Our mechanical class was unhinged. From the first 2-3 months itself, we were known to be the worst class in DJ Sangeet. You generally don't get exposure at all during your college to this software, but if you are able to do a certification on that before getting out of college, you will be crazy in demand. I got a very good exposure to higher management, upper management, not just in my company but in the client's company as well. So convince them that instead of you not liking it, you should be convincing them that you actually shouldn't be giving me this work. Supply chain is very common sense driven.
Hey everyone, welcome to Chai Pe Career. In today's episode, we have Rutwij Ghaisas. We've known each other for more than 8 years. We've been friends since our 11th, 12th classes. His journey is quite interesting, and you'll know why I say that. He's done masters in something else, but bachelor's in something else, job somewhere else. So it's quite interesting to see how Rutwij's journey has panned out. And I think most of us are will be in the same boat that Rutwij and I were on when we were in bachelors. So I think his journey from bachelor's, job, masters, and right now where he is would be really interesting for you to see. With that, let's get started. Welcome, Rutwij.
Thank you.
Do you want to give some brief background about yourself, like just for audience to understand what was your background and where you are right now?
Yeah, sure. So started off with mechanical engineering, bachelor's in mechanical engineering, did a job for 2 years in IT. So that was SAP consulting. It was more on functional side. It wasn't like a technical role. I did not code in a app. So that was kind of the business or like the introduction for me to supply chain management. Took up a course in Lean Six Sigma, so did a green belt, and after that I joined master's degree for supply chain management. During supply chain management, I've worked as a supply planning analyst. It was an internship with Johnson and Johnson, but it was kind of a full-time role. They used to leverage us a lot. Johnson and Johnson does that very well. So did that for 9 months. After that, I got a role in Johnson and Johnson's consumer industry, consumer unit, which is now called Kenvue. We spun off. I got a role as a purchasing, or like at that time it was called senior sourcing specialist. And now I'm a category manager, so a global category manager for alcohol, solvents, and silicones.
Got it. And now coming from mechanical to Johnson & Johnson and supply chain, right? So let's go back to bachelor's and mechanical. Whenever people hear about mechanical, it's all about like कि कुछ तो fix कर रहा है, गाड़ी में fix कर रहा है, right? So why did you take mechanical, and what exactly does a mechanical course entail? Like someone doing bachelor's in mechanical right now, what should that person expect to do?
Yeah, so maybe to understand why I took mechanical, I'll go first to my 10th standard, end of 10th standard. So I'm not really one of the toppers. I've always been a backbencher, cracking a lot of jokes, always been on the spotlight for everything that I did. So I really started focusing a bit on my studies at the very end of 10th standard. So just before the SSC exams and after the prelims. So I did not know what I wanted to do. All of my family members were in commerce. So I was like CA and BCom probably with that. And I got 90%. So over the on the 7th or whatever 9th cloud, and I was so happy that I just told my dad that I'm doing engineering now. So medical was never an option. I'm very afraid of blood, so I had eliminated that a long time back. So I was going, like, I decided I'll do engineering. Um, I started off 11th, 12th, like taking vocational subject of electronics. So I took electronics in 11th, I took electronics in 12th. I was really bad at it, really bad at it. I had no idea what was going on in like electronics. So at the very end, I pulled off somehow. I talked with a lot of my friends on how to do electronics. I got good marks in that, finally in HSC, but I knew that I can't do electronics now. So electronics and EXTC were gone. I thought of computer science or IT, but then I thought I can't sit in front of a computer for too long, so I eliminated those two. So the only ones left for me were mechanical engineering and civil engineering. And like as I said, my all of my family members were from commerce, so no one had any idea about engineering at all. So I was the only one making all the decisions, and I was whatever, like very young at that time, so I barely had any idea of how to make decisions, but I still did it. So I thought, okay, civil engineering, you have to be very kind of not rash, but you have to be out there. You have to be very dominating, and you have to know how to use like black money, which which was not at all our culture. No one knew anything about it. So it's like, okay, mechanical engineering. So process of elimination. So yeah, that was pretty much my journey to mechanical engineering. On why to do, oh, so another point, uh, one of the reasons why I thought of civil and mechanical was because I was good at math and I was good at drawing. And I was told that if you are good at these two things, you should take mechanical or civil engineering, which is not at all true. Don't do that. Civil maybe, mechanical, you have to be good at physics.
Okay.
And I was not good at it. So you need to be good at physics if you want to take mechanical engineering. You should be good at maths as well. Drawing is not needed. The drawing that you need in mechanical engineering is with scales, rulers. You don't
Not
need to
freehand.
do freehand drawing in that. So yeah, that's how finally I selected mechanical engineering. So again, like people who are good at physics should probably choose mechanical engineering, not at drawing. And what was the other question?
So during your bachelor's, when like how is your 4 year split in mechanical? Like what do you learn each year? And like what's the, like for example, once you complete bachelor's in mechanical, what are the top 3 or 4 things that a person will qualify? And that person should only go into mechanical if he also likes the top 3, 5 things.
So, okay, so most of mechanical engineering, you will learn a lot about thermodynamics, mechanical vibrations, there's topics like that, and there's topics like ICE, so internal combustion engines. So basically, automotive, a bit of automotive, I would say. So you like at the end of mechanical engineering, you also have some electives where you can choose subjects like operations research. You can choose supply chain management as well. The thing about mechanical engineering is unless you do something practical, you won't learn much in engineering. So it's not like coding where you understand the basics and then you can apply it. It's way more that you have to first apply it, then you will start understanding it. So if you actually genuinely want to be a good mechanical engineer, start participating in the different teams that your college probably already has. So DJ Sangvi now has really good teams, many different teams. So they have one remote controlled plane team, they have one solar car team, the all-terrain vehicle, they have F1 or like whatever is the lower version of F1, those kind of teams as well. So those teams, like they really help you, like if you work in those teams, it will really help you understand what is core mechanical engineering. So if you like basically the people who want to be kind of an automotive engineer, you want to be in automotive industry in general, you want to be in operations, one which is like at the end of your mechanical engineering, you do learn about operations and a bit of business as well. So that designing, you can do designing as well, and robotics, but for robotics generally you will need a higher degree as well, because it needs a bit of understanding of electronics and electronics as well. So yeah, if you like these four careers, then you should choose mechanical engineering. But definitely like try to gain practical knowledge as soon as possible. Like you should start it in the first or second semester itself.
Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise it will be too late. Generally in DJ Sangvi as well, people would start. So a lot of people already knew a lot of people because it's in Parla. A lot of people come from Parla, like schools from Parla as well, and they know their seniors already. So those guys already have connections in those teams, so they get in very easily, and the spots fill out very easily. So if you don't do it in the first second semester, then you like lag behind a lot.
So how does one get into those? I think Baha is one of the committee, right? So is it like committee, or committees are different and teams are different? Like,
No,
how does
it's
it
the
operate?
same.
Okay.
There was SAE,
Hmm.
which was a committee. But then committees, I don't think help a lot, honestly. The teams help a lot. Like going into the teams helps a lot. So Baha, they have different selection processes, very honestly. Baha gives you like a manual, maybe 10-20 pages manual that you have to go through thoroughly, and they have an exam, after which they conduct interviews as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how they select people in the Baha team. F1, F1 was a bit sketchy. They used to work a lot on donations as well, because it's very expensive to make that car. So you had to be like good at interviewing, and then you had to be open to donating a decent amount to go into the team. Other teams at that time were very new. So I was a part of the solar car team, which was called Helios. So that team was very new at that time. Like our seniors had started the team 1 year before I joined. So still a very new team. They did not have any process as such. I like the captain of my team was a really good friend of mine. Yeah, and like he knew that I was good at talking generally, so that's why I was selected. I was selected as like in the business side of the team rather than the technical side. Again, like I very quickly I understood that I'm not going to dirty my hands at all. So I did not want to be in the core mechanical engineer, because at that time, if you go for internships, if you go in these teams, you have to practically, like, literally dirty your hands, which I did not want to. So I quickly understood that, and I pivoted myself. So I always tried to do some kind of business side of like the non-technical side of things in anything that I did during engineering. So I did an internship which was marketing. I was in a committee which was publicity, and then I was in this team which was then like I later on got finance lead.
Got it.
Because I was good at finance generally. So all were business side.
So do these like participating in this team help you eventually network, get a job, or like I feel these teams also come to US for some competition. So is it that easy to get, like, to come to US and get their exposure, or like how was your?
So it's not at all like master's degree where you like network with your seniors and then seniors get a job, then you it helps you with a job. Over there, the seniors are still like they also have 2 years of engineering left. They have zero idea about what they are doing as well. So it doesn't help with the jobs, to be very honest. But it just helps you to develop yourself. You are very raw when you join engineering. You have no idea of anything, right? it exposes you a lot. It exposes you to the world. It exposes you to mechanical engineering. So it gives you a very good understanding of how a team works, how the market works, like what do external people look for as well. Because as a non-technical person, I would also go for getting sponsorships.
Okay.
So getting money is not that easy, and no one gives you money just because you are a young guy who is doing something. Because there are hundreds and thousands of young guys coming to them every now and then, right?
Right.
So you have to convince them a lot. You have to make presentations. You have to show the passion as well. And especially being a non-technical person in the team, you don't know a lot about that car, like
Technically.
in depth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to gain that knowledge first, and then show it to them that I am also that person who
Okay.
knows a lot and who is passionate about that car as well. So because of that only you will get the
Funding.
sponsorship. Yeah.
Got it. So it's more like fundraising. You were part of like fundraising for the car, which
Yes.
is also very important because unless you have good funds, it's difficult to get good parts and then build a
Yeah,
good car.
almost impossible, because like at your age during engineering, you can't really shell out a lot of money. So you barely can, like, and most of the parents won't like just give you 10,000 rupees
Right.
or 15,000 rupees to make a car, right? So because of that, it's almost impossible if you don't get money from the outside. Nowadays, DJ Sanghvi is actually doing really good. That's what I've heard. Like the HOD actually gets a lot of funding to fund these teams.
Got it.
So yeah, now they are well funded. So maybe now the sponsorship part doesn't play a big role. But at my time, like it was one of the biggest things in the team. Yeah,
Interesting.
and it was just a part of my role, a major part of my role. But
Right.
then, yeah, still, like there were some other things that we had to do as well.
So in
Yeah.
computer science, like how we have like certifications that people can take and then eventually get internships based on that. In mechanical, are there any certifications that people apply for, or is it just like more manual or?
I don't think so. So if you want, like at a very primary or basic level, you don't really need any certificates. College name actually helps a lot
Okay.
in that case. But if you want to diversify a bit, like suppose you want to go into supply chain management, you want to you want to go into robotics, those kind of things that are not mainstream mechanical engineer, those kind of things you need certifications, but otherwise you don't really need any certifications.
Got it.
Yeah.
And like whenever we hear about mechanical engineering, like the first thing comes to my mind is like it's all boys, right?
Mhm.
So you've been in class, like I think you can tell your story better, but what would you suggest like anyone doing mechanical irrespective of the gender? Is it only boys or is it also like there are girls, and like what kind of careers are there? Because you have to get your hands dirty, right?
Yeah.
So are there different types of jobs you get after mechanical engineering which might be suited for different types of people, or what would you say on that?
So as I mentioned, like once you actually get a grip of your roles, there's no dirtying of your hands. It's only at the very beginning where you need to do this. Generally, interns are made to do these things as
Okay.
well. Interns are like treated as mechanics, not mechanical engineers. So most of my friends who did like proper mechanical engineering internships had to do it. Had to dirty their hands. But then once you like go into a proper full-time role, you are not treated like that. Okay, so you like there were a lot of my friends who went into Blue Star, Godrej. They do kind of the designing part. Generally, they would help with like optimizing the in machines that are used in manufacturing, those kind of things. So they are not really doing anything physically, going there and doing, well, most of the times they
Right.
have to do it sometimes, but most of the times they are not doing anything physically, which is like you have to use all your manpower to do that. Not like that. So there is good scope for anyone to do it, but unfortunately, because the start of it is where you have to actually do physical things a lot. Even the lathe machines, like the mechanical engineers are taught to use lathe machines properly. So for the first one, I think 1.5 years, or yeah, something like that, 1.5 years probably. So 3 semesters, you are taught to do that. So at that time, you actually need physical power. So because of that, there are very, very few girls in
In mechanical.
mechanical. Yeah, as you know, our class was infamous for having 75 boys. So yeah, that happens. We had zero girls in our class.
And now this is a good segue in terms of like having fun with
Mhm.
mechanical. So like when I was in Isangvi, I've always heard more fun stories from you from
Mhm.
mechanical as
Mhm.
compared to any other departments, right? So how would you say, how like what is the fun side of being in a mechanical engineering? Like when you want to like promote mechanical engineering, one way is the jobs you get, but other is also the fun you have and the interactions you have. So do you want to say how that developed your personality in future?
Yes. So first of all, you make really, really good friends because, like, if you have 75 boys in a class, there is no limit to what you can do. Okay, so you do not have to be ashamed of anything. You do not have to be restricted by anything if there's no girls in the class. So, our mechanical class was unhinged. From the first like 2-3 months itself, we were known to be the worst class in DJ Sangvi. So you can have a lot of fun. We would do everything uh, from like things like throwing food at each other as well, to beating up people for no reason at all, calling people from other classes, just inviting them, very friendly invites. But then once they come in, we would beat them. So very unnecessary things, but yeah, it was fun. So you make a lot of friends over there. And one thing would be, because you are known to be the worst class, when you do IVAs, you have to convince the professor a lot that you are not one of the worst ones. So you develop that skill as well, that you become a lot more convincing in that sense. And as I said, like, the teams really help out. Like, I would say mechanical engineers were generally very well-rounded once they came out of mechanical engineering. And the other thing is, actually, the subjects that are taught for mechanical engineering are also pretty diverse. So we are not just learning about like thermodynamics, we also learn about like electronics. We
Okay.
had a very advanced level course, so to say, in second year. So I think it was in third or fourth semester, which the electronics engineers had in their sixth semester. So we
Wow.
were taught that sixth semester thing in our third or fourth semester. We also had one subject for IT, the DBIMS subject, and we also had supply chain management. I think they have increased the number of electives that are like needed now. So because of that, you can actually diversify your knowledge quite a bit before getting out of mechanical engineering. But yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. It can go crazy as well. But yeah, you stick together as well. You learn teamwork as well, I would say, through mechanical engineering. Yeah.
And now in terms of, let's say, prospects for mechanical engineering, uh, now we see a lot of boom in terms of solar energy, renewable energy, right? So is that boom directly impacting the motivation people have towards mechanical? Like, is mechanical engineering's application directly applied to like startups who are booming in the renewable energy space?
Uh, Not directly, because we are not taught anything about energy. So, like, not energy, like renewable energy in general. I think there is a stream called sustainable engineering, which they sustainability engineering or something like that. Yeah. So they actually get to learn about these different kinds of energies. But then we do get like jobs easily in these fields, because we have some understanding of how these kind of technologies work in general. So we like, once we are done with mechanical engineering, if you are able to do some kind of certification or some kind of different course that helps you get into these fields, you will be much better off than like an IT engineer, computer science engineer, EXTC even. Electronics people can get much more easily into this.
Oh, into these
Yeah, especially solar, because the panels are pretty much electronics only.
electronics.
Yeah.
And then what, like, how difficult it is for a mechanical engineer to get a job after bachelor's?
it's very not difficult. It's not difficult. It's difficult to get a good paying job. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So at my time, the average salary for a mechanical engineer in DJ Sangvi was 2 lakh rupees per annum.
Like 80, this is like 7, 6 years back.
Yeah, seven and a
Seven and
half
a half years
yeah
back. Okay.
years back. So at that time it was 2 lakh rupees per year, and now I think the average has gone up to 4 lakh rupees.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I know computer science, even back then they used to get 8 lakh. I think average
Correct.
was 8 lakh. There were people who would get 24, 25 as well. There was no one in mechanical who got 24, 25 at all. No one. Through campus, through outside, no one. So the maximum salary we got was 5.5.
Hmm.
5.5 lakhs. Yes, Blue Star.
And this is in mechanical space only, mechanical engineering
Yeah.
space. Okay, not the IT job that people get.
No,
Okay.
even including IT, because IT roles were only restricted to the mass recruiters,
Okay.
right? No one else used to allow us. So if you consider your like specific companies, suppose I think JP
JP
Morgan was
Morgan.
there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So JP Morgan wouldn't allow mechanical engineers to even interview or sit for the exams.
Okay.
We were allowed for the normal ones, L&T, Infotech,
Wipro,
TCS,
TCS.
Infosys, yeah, Wipro, those kind of things. So those guys used to pay 4 lakh. Actually, it was 3.5 lakhs at that
Okay.
time. Yeah. So IT companies only give you 3 to 4 lakhs. Those are mass recruiters. If you go into the very good, there was ZS actually that allowed us, GS, ZS.
JSON.
Yeah, that allowed us to interview. That was, I think, a good paying role, 8 lakhs, something like that. Mu Sigma also allowed us. So there were a couple of consulting companies as such
Hmm.
that allowed us to do to interview, but then others like core mechanical, you can't, like that time you wouldn't go above 5 lakh,
5 lakhs.
5 lakhs.
And in terms of, let's say, for computer science, how we have hackathons where it's not like a team, but it's competitions held, and then you can go in 2, 3 days, you can perform, you can come back, right?
Mm.
Are there any similar competitions that mechanical people enter without joining a team? It's just like,
No,
no.
no. Say, individual competitions, I have not heard of any. Yeah, it was more of a team thing only,
Hmm.
because the things that you actually make are very complex. It's not a very straightforward thing that one person can do.
Correct.
Maybe you can register as an individual in these competitions, but you wouldn't stand a chance mostly.
Right.
Yeah, so most of it was teamwork only. Yeah.
Okay, so now going into your job after bachelor's, where did you work after your mechanical engineering?
Yeah, so I got into L&T Infotech. As I said, like it was one of the mass recruiters. So I gave, like there was a basic exam that we had to give. I gave one for Infosys, and then I gave one for L&T Infotech. And after that, there were a couple of rounds of interviews at L&T Infotech. I also actually got one role in Godrej,
Hmm.
and I was almost there for Blue Star as well. So it was like 6 people were
Wow.
shortlisted out of whatever 135 people, and 5 people actually got the role. I completely forgot about my resume only. I couldn't remember my resume. So I didn't, unfortunately, I didn't get, or maybe fortunately, because a lot of people who actually worked at Blue Star got stuck over there, because they transferred the people into very remote places. Blue Star's main office was in Thane, but then
Okay.
they transferred some people into Dehradun and whatnot.
Okay.
So, like they, wait, it wasn't Dehradun. I forgot. But yeah,
Somewhere north.
yeah. So it wasn't great to work over there. That's what I've heard. So I got into Godrej, as I said, like it was just 2 people who got into that company, and I was one of them. So again, like as I mentioned in the beginning, the working in those teams actually really helps, and especially like working in non-tech roles.
Oh.
If you want to if you want to go into supply chain management, business side of things, it really helps out, because like I was able to talk very well. And I was able to display whatever I had done very well, what I had not done as well very well. So I was able to get Godrej role where like there were so many people ahead of me who were very good at mechanical engineering but couldn't speak properly.
So on that Godrej point, right, you mentioned like you were one of the two people who got selected. So how did you prepare for Godrej and what kind of questions were asked for Godrej?
Yeah, so the easiest thing to do is go through your resume. And that's why it is important to have like a team, like you have worked in a team. You should have a committee,
Okay.
like you should have worked in a committee. You don't really actually have to work in that committee, but you should have it on your resume.
Okay.
And it helps if you have an internship as well, so that you can fill out your resume, because otherwise like when you do mechanical engineering, like any kind of first bachelor's degree, your resume is empty. What will you show? Like you studied this, you studied that, and you studied that. Like what is the point of this, right? So it really helped me having those three on my resume. Like you can actually talk through those. So I like generally, even though the star method, I got to know over here that it is like a proper method that you have to follow, but I was always a good storyteller. So because of that, I knew how to, like, even if I have done a very small thing, I knew how to build a big story, around it, and then talk about it. Because of that, that was the only reason I got into Godrej, to be very honest.
Interesting. Okay.
The questions that they asked, they stuck with our resumes only.
Okay.
They don't ask you a lot of technical questions. They know that like you are not like you don't get any good knowledge
Practical
out of
knowledge,
your
right?
engineering. Anyway, the job that you are going to do is not like very similar to what you have studied, which is for everywhere, right?
Right.
So that's why like they don't really focus on like specific subjects, so that what is this and what is that, but they'll focus on your resume
And
generally.
one quick thing, so on your resume, for the resume part, there's also something called capstone project that you do at the end of the bachelor's, right? So what was your capstone project and did that help you in that resume stuff?
No, during bachelor's there was no capstone project for us. Oh, there is a final year
Final
project.
project,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. So we did solar water pump.
Hmm.
That also helps. Yeah, good point. But that is like a mandatory thing. So everyone has that on your on their resume. Again, being elaborate about what you have done is much more important than what you have actually done, right?
Okay.
So because like they know again that like most of the work would be done, like it's a team work, right? It's not your individual project. So in our solar water pump also, it was 8 of us. So
Okay.
8 of us were contributing in that project. It's generally four, but we like, because this project was sponsored by our HOD, or head of the department, we got to make like 8 people team. And yeah, you have to be very elaborate about what you have done in that project rather than actually doing something complex, because most of the projects would be at a similar level, even though they will be very different. The level would be similar only for everyone,
Got it.
complexity wise.
So I think like this is a good point because as engineers, we are never taught to like present our work. We always taught to like work on like working hard, but working hard is not enough. I think to get a job, it's more about how you present your work as well. So that's something okay. That's something that help you get job in
Yeah.
in the Godrej. Now coming back to where did you actually join?
Yeah. So finally, I joined L&T Infotech. L&T Infotech, again, like I gave an exam, I gave interviews. In the interview, the person interviewing me was like an IT engineer or something like that. So he had no idea about mechanical engineering.
Okay.
So I could talk a lot with people who don't know about mechanical engineering. So I got the role pretty easily. So I joined the team, and they basically divided. We were like, I think 150 people, something like that total, like with 3 or 4 different colleges. So was 150 people. They divided us according to our background. So if we had non-IT, non-computer science background, we were put into SAP.
Okay.
Okay, so SAP is basically our enterprise resource planning software. Um, you can do everything on it, from like it's a support software, so you can do everything from financing on it, to warehousing, to supply chain management, to placing purchase orders, everything. It's a very big, very well known software. It's if you like, you generally don't get exposure at all during your college to this software, but
Okay.
if you are able to do a certification on that before getting out of college, you will be crazy in demand. Okay, so just think about that. It's generally no one does it. No one, I have heard of no one who has done it before engineering is done. Generally people join SAP, and after that, like after a year or so, when they understand that they have a lot of leaning towards that, they'll do the certification. But it helps a lot. So yeah, so I got into SAP consulting.
Right.
In SAP consulting, I was given materials management. So there are modules in that. So according to kind of my how I used to behave, how I like what background I had or what I had put in my resume, we were given like different modules to handle, and I was given materials management. And after that, while working, I diverged into a couple of other modules as well, which were similar to materials management. So materials management is anything starting from purchasing placing a purchase order to moving like to the sales. So basically
Oh.
not placing the sales order, but um, till the material goes out of your warehouse,
So
goes
developing
out
a
of your
lead, is it
hands.
like developing a lead for the sales to connect, or like?
No, 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 no. This was SAP implementation. So my project was SAP implementation. There is there is support project as well. So as in SAP implementation, it's a software, right? So for your client, you have to customize the software comes in like one standard format. So you can buy different modules according to the client's requirements,
Okay.
and then you can customize those modules according to the requirements, because each and every client has their own way of working, right? The
Oh.
processes are not standard.
Hmm.
So not every manufacturing company or whatever service based company does the whole process exactly the same as the other company. So you have to customize SAP according to different companies, and that's what we did. So we would work with the client, we would understand what their physical process was or what their current process was. We would analyze their current tools as well, and we would take that and put it into SAP, like put it as in customize SAP
Customize.
accordingly.
So
Yeah,
this is more like where you did your requirement gathering, you understood the problem statement, and
yeah,
then you help them use SAP for that same purpose.
exactly.
So does SAP help them automate the same thing, or is it like a booking system, or what does it? What's the value add that SAP provided your clients?
So first of all, it helps in consolidating everything that you have, because generally the older softwares, especially in India, as well as like most of the Southeast Asian or Middle East countries, the softwares that they used were very specific to one function. So there would be a software for suppose warehousing. There would be a different software for purchase order placing. There would be a separate software for financing,
Okay.
right? So like because of that, and quality as well would have a different system. So because of that, the data would sometimes get lost between like the systems, right? And there would be a lot of manual work between the systems as well.
Hmm.
So SAP's main value proposition generally is that it consolidates everything, so it's connected, everything
Hmm.
is connected with each other. It has a lot of ways to connect with other softwares as well. So there's a random software that you are already using, SAP would probably have a way to connect with that software as well. So that way everything gets online.
Okay.
Okay, and
Hmm.
it does have a lot of automation functions as well.
Hmm.
Now I think they introduced AI as well in it. So it does help with efficiency as well. Yeah.
Got it. And so your L&T job, was it your first job in the supply chain background, or did that give you understanding of supply chain?
Yes. So so materials management is a part of supply chain,
Hmm.
right? Supply chain management. Because of that, I like when I started working on my project, I started talking with people who were actually doing supply chain management,
Okay.
because they would like the supply chain management people are doing something on the software
Hmm.
which I'm moving from the software to SAP, and that's why like I would need to talk with those supply chain people,
Hmm.
and that's where I got to know what supply chain is.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So,
yeah.
so if you had to like define supply chain and give a real world example saying this happened and because of supply chain, all right,
Mhm.
and what are the real world implications? For example, Suez Canal stuff. Like how does the real world impact supply chain, and what are some different flavors in supply chain?
Mhm. So, okay. So all the current affairs, all of political agendas or political moves affect supply chain.
Hmm.
So nowadays, especially like there is a lot of recognition given to supply chain as well. You would hear in most of the like videos or like news that because of this particular move, supply chain was disrupted or something like that. So supply chain is basically like at a very basic level, it's a material being bought from somewhere. How do you get that material to you?
Hmm.
How do you keep that material with you?
Hmm.
And how do you supply that material or like do something, do some processing on it, and then supply the finished product to your customer?
Okay.
That is your supply chain,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So anything, so suppose the Russia Ukraine war happened, right?
Right.
Russia is one of the biggest suppliers of oil and gas
Hmm.
to the whole world.
Okay.
Because of that, oil and gas prices went up
Hmm.
everywhere. Now oil and gas prices went up, all the transportation prices went up, all the shipping prices went up, airline prices went up, because shipping and transportation were going up. So demand increased for airline prices, so airline like air shipping prices went up as well.
Hmm.
Now where do all of these prices impact you? What are you getting in that? Like when you are shipping something, you are getting a particular, suppose like I work in chemicals industry, right?
Hmm.
So like FMCG, so my product has a lot of chemicals, so I'm suppose buying a chemical from South Korea.
Okay.
That chemical is coming here by a ship. Shipping costs increased because of the oil and gas price hike. So where are they going to recover the prices from? Increase the
Consumers.
raw
Hmm.
material price.
Hmm.
Raw material price increases, what will I do? Well, like I'm going into loss, I'll increase the finished good price, and finally
Okay.
it comes to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say in finance, right? The more the volatility, the better it is for the banks or hedge funds, because irrespective of market going up and down, they kind of make money because of the volatility. People
Yeah.
buy and sell, right?
Hmm.
Now because of the tariffs which are being applied worldwide, does it have a positive impact on supply chain or does it have a negative impact?
So it's a very complex issue. So
Hmm.
it's not like as simple as saying it's not good or it's very good.
Hmm.
So in the short term, it's not good for sure. Okay.
Okay.
In the very short term, because right now, suppose again, like taking an example of my raw materials, I'm buying suppose silicones.
Hmm.
Okay. Silicones mainly is made of, so it is made of silica sand.
Right.
Most of the processing of sand to silicon
Hmm.
happens in China, and then silicone also they process in China only.
Hmm.
So now if you are adding tariffs on that, China, who is the biggest producer of silicone in the world,
Hmm.
you are adding tariffs to them as well. So my prices are going to go up because of that.
Hmm.
So tariffs, like at the very short term, it will affect it. And US does not have the capacity to supply me the silicones at that price that I'm getting from China.
China. Huh?
So what am I going to do? I can lean towards these guys, like
Right.
the US suppliers. So Dow is one of the biggest suppliers of silicones in US,
Okay.
and they are probably the only big supplier.
Hmm.
So I can lean towards them, but then PNG is also doing that. Unilever is also doing that, L'Oreal is also doing that, Estee Lauder is also doing that. So everyone is telling Dow to supply that material. Now their demand shoots up,
Right.
and they don't have enough material to produce it, right?
Right.
So because of that, the prices will skyrocket, and like you won't have like I can't absorb that big of a price change. Probably if the prices go up enough for the Chinese material to be cheaper, I'll still prefer Chinese material. And most of the times, to be very honest, Chinese material is actually still cheaper after the tariffs as well as compared to the US material.
Oh.
So I might, yeah, there are some alternate supply chains as well.
Right.
So right now I've heard that they are trying to, like, China is trying to pivot towards Vietnam, saying that this material was produced in Vietnam and then selling it to US. Then it doesn't
Oh,
affect the
the
tariffs.
tariffs. Okay.
Yeah, so there are those ways as well. But then yeah, so I'll try to keep buying it from China, or most of the times what happens is the Chinese silicone, it's a basic silicone.
Right.
They'll sell it to European
Europe.
country or something like that, where the processing will happen. Now the material is European, not Chinese.
So tariffs are different.
So yeah,
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
they'll sell it to us. But the
Interesting.
basic, like the material finally at a base level, it's coming from China
China.
only. So tariffs won't help me in a short term. It will affect prices for everyone, not just me. It will affect the consumers as well. But that's only in the short term. In the long term, so what I don't like about the current policy that Trump is going for is flat tariffs. So generally, like he's saying that 10% additional tariffs for everything in coming from China. Maybe like I don't have an economics degree, or I don't have economics in-depth knowledge, so I can't say for sure. But what I feel is, because of that, the materials that US, maybe even in the future, they won't be able to produce in US. Those kind of materials are also getting price hikes, right? So not all of the materials that are produced everywhere in the world are like going to be produced in US at any point of time, right?
Correct.
Suppose like these guys don't have enough sand to like
Easily
process,
enough. Right.
yeah, then what will you do? At some point you have to pivot to China
Import.
again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you, like, that's what I feel, in the even in the short term or the long term, that's probably not the best policy. But like for other materials, suppose farming is one of the things I think he's focusing on. Oil and gas is other thing. Metals,
Right.
aluminum and steel production is another thing that he is trying to increase production of in US. Those kind of things, yes, like it will help in the longer term.
Longer term.
So maybe after, like, and right now you have to start setting up the industry first, like, or growing the
Manufacturing,
industry
correct.
first.
Right.
Yeah. And then like it will take 2-3 years at least to scale up, and
Hmm.
after that the prices might settle down.
Okay.
But then for the next 2-3 years, it's not
It's
great.
not
Yeah,
good. Got it.
even for the materials that US has a scope of producing. Yeah.
And now coming back to, let's say, L&T, right? So L&T got you the first flavor of what supply chain is.
Yeah.
Now, when did you decide to do your masters?
So okay, so one of the things that I considered during, like, while working in L&T Infotech was work-life balance. I was moved to Delhi for the project, and like during that project, we used to work 12 hours easily. I've also worked for 24 hours once at a stretch before our implementation. So like implementation date, as in go live date. So
Right.
when the software goes live and the production, like the actual people, a client starts working on that particular software.
Right.
So before that, we have worked for 24 hours as well. So it's pretty grueling, and then you don't really get compensated enough, right? So after like working for 1.5 years in that particular project, I understood this very well, that there's no scope of like having a good work-life balance if I continue this path, right? So I wanted to change my path. The other thing was, when I worked in SAP, I was very good at understanding the basic processes.
Hmm.
So that is because of that, I became very good at SAP as well, implementation as well. And I understood that. Like, I clearly could understand the bigger picture. I could understand the smaller components that were playing a part in the supply chain as well. And that's where I thought, like, I should leverage my understanding of this, and should do something in that. So I tried doing Lean Six Sigma Green Belt. I
Okay.
did it very well.
Hmm.
I understood the concepts very easily. I would say supply chain is very common sense driven,
Hmm.
right? So you don't really need to have very specific knowledge of things to understand how the supply chain functions. You just need to understand how to connect the dots,
Hmm.
and you need to understand that you need to listen properly to everyone, whoever is talking, whatever their like expertise are, you need to listen to them. So if you are able to do these two things, you would be good at supply chain. And I understood that I am good at that. Because of that, I thought that I'll do master's degree.
And what is Lean Six Sigma? Like, is that a certification that people do?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And how
So
long does it take to, like, what's the like studies thing?
depends. I did it in 1.5 months, something like
Okay.
that. Green belt is not that difficult. Yellow belt is even less difficult. Like, it's very easy to do yellow belt. Green belt takes 1.5 months. There's another black belt, which takes a while to do because they have a project in it. So you
Hmm.
have to complete one project of Lean Six Sigma. You have to implement that project. You have to
Hmm.
get the results of that project, and then you qualify to get the certificate.
And that's which one?
So
This is green.
no, black belt.
Black belt. This is black
Green
belt.
belt is just exam.
Got it. Got it.
So
Okay.
because of that, you can finish it pretty quickly. I won't say it's the easiest exam, but if you like get a grasp of supply chain, as I said, like if you
Hmm.
have common sense, if you can connect the dots, you will pass Lean Six Sigma as well, green belt as well.
And how long did you work in L&T?
Almost 2 years. Yeah.
And is 2 years a sweet spot where people work for 2 years and then go for masters, or like how?
Yeah, I feel so. 2 to 3 years is a sweet spot because you are not paid enough at that time to
Hmm.
get sucked into that profession. You also don't have enough experience to be like kind of typecasted into that you are a SAP consultant kind of a
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
Now, so because of that, it's a good spot, and it's not too early as well, because you get enough exposure to the world, you get enough exposure to different things that different people are doing, especially if you are doing something like SAP consulting, where you are talking with 100 people, 100 different people who have very different backgrounds.
Hmm.
So if you are doing that, it really helps. So I talked a lot of bad things or bitched a lot about my project, but then it, like, because my project was for Indian government.
Hmm.
So and over there it was only 60 something people in that project from L&T Infotech side. So it did a couple of things. I got a very good exposure to higher management, upper management,
Hmm.
not just in my company but in the client's company as well. Or the client's organization as well. So I could understand what the upper management likes and
Hmm.
what they don't like to hear. I could understand how to convince the upper management as well. We were like six college students that went there together. So we were very scrappy. We
Right.
knew, yeah, we were open to doing whatever work they needed us to do. And then we had enough attitude that we wouldn't just accept doing like
Anything
really
they want.
crappy work,
Right.
but we would be very good at convincing them, because if you just straight up say no,
Hmm.
then they'll get pissed off at you.
Right.
So you have to do the convincing part as well. So we got to learn how to say no
Hmm.
to work that you don't want to do, but then at the same time how to perform well as well.
So what is that thing where you mentioned, like, you knew what the upper management wanted to hear and not want to hear? Like, what was those one or two things?
Yeah, so one thing would be you have to have like another good job or another good work that you can show that I want to actually, this should be your focus, Like my talent is in this particular work, so you should be actually giving me this work, kind of a
Okay.
thing. Yeah. So convince them that instead of you not liking it, you should be convincing them that you actually shouldn't be giving me this work. This is not the best work that I can do. I have an even more important project that I can do for you.
Okay.
So that way they'll understand that, oh, there's a value proposition. So give them a different value proposition and they'll be convinced. So I did that a lot. And because like we made really good connections with the client as well, we could extract really good projects from them as well. It really helps to be a very young person in the team, because generally what happens is like the older people or like the 40s 50s people, they are very stringent in their ways. They are frustrated, to be honest, with their roles.
Okay.
So like the client understands that, client sees that. So when they see some energetic people, you are pretty liberated at that point. Like you are earning money, so you are pretty chill. Like you are
Right.
open as well. And especially like I would say there are introverts as well, or like people who are shy in front of client, or they are a bit scared of them. It does not help them a lot. But people like me, there was another guy, or there were three more people, I would say, who were kind of like me, who would be like bindas. You talk to the client like
Openly,
openly.
right.
Yeah, you don't like hide things, you don't become political.
Right.
And just be yourself. A client likes that. So because of that, they started giving us particularly work that like they knew that we could do, but then it was kind of like much better
Better
work
than
than what we like at our level were
other people
going
who
to do.
would get it.
Yeah. So because of that, it really helped us do some good work over there. Yeah.
Got it.